I can't represent other women, but this is what I have seen and heard growing up in a patriarchal society. Living in the US right now, I know the public discourse about feminism can be very advanced sometimes, especially among middle-class people in Western countries. But today I want to go back to the very basics and share my honest feelings and observations with you. I guess that's also the purpose of this channel, because we were all born knowing nothing about the world, about what identities we carry and what they mean. We go on a journey of discovery. So this video is a small part of my journey of discovering what it means to be a woman. This year I turned 23, the age that my mom married to my dad. The day of my birthday, I was in San Diego having classes on Zoom, whereas my mom, 32 years ago, was in a small village in China. To me, my mom was always this strong, capable, and decisive woman. Starting doing business in the late 90s, she became a successful entrepreneur. In my memories, it was always my mom paying for my school, giving me and my brother allowances, and just paying for all the household expenses. Growing up, seeing my mom always wearing business attire and being a leader, the thought that I was indeed living in a patriarchal household or society never occurred to me. In fact, just like many other middle-class Chinese girls, I had access to the same educational resources that were available to the boys. And my parents had high expectations from me. I had to achieve just like the boys. So when I was little, I didn't really see myself being different from the guys, and I didn't really realize the existence of gender roles. Not until my parents announced divorce 10 years ago. The separation of my parents was truly a moment of enlightenment for me. It revealed things that were once well hidden to me. Things like how my dad cheated on my mom repeatedly when she was pregnant, how he never used protection and threatened my mom with divorce unless she gets an abortion. She ended up getting 3 abortions. The 4th time, she ran away from the hospital out of despair, and so I was born. To this date, every horrible little or big thing my mom can let go of. But one fight she will never forget is when my dad complained to her. You know, other men wake up having neatly folded clothes on their dresser ready for them to wear. My mom alone raised the kids, provided for the family, took care of the in-laws, yet still, she was at fault because she didn't serve my dad well at home, even though he rarely came home. My mom told me all about this in an afternoon when I was 13, when I just had my first period. Remember I said my parents and teachers had high expectations from me just like they would do to a boy? That was 100% true before high school. I was proud and ambitious, but things became very different after I entered adolescence. It's almost as if puberty is this magical point, and after that, the female aspect of me just took over me as a human being. It's like I'm not a human anymore. I'm just a woman, just like my female identity supersedes everything else. When I was a kid, when I was not yet a woman, I thought the reason why some women are being treated badly in the household is because they're financially dependent on their husband. I was like, of course, whoever pays the bill gets a bigger say. But witnessing my mom leading a successful business and making more money than my dad, yet still being treated as if she was inferior to her husband, I realized that gender inequality transcends everything. Even if you're a billionaire, you're a top athlete, and your husband is a nobody, it doesn't matter. In a patriarchal society, you're seen as a woman and should do what women are supposed to do. My dad used to say, "Your mom is so cold-hearted." I didn't want to end the marriage, it was her abandoning me. I was like, of course you don't want to end the marriage, because what you got out of it was children who magically grew up on their own, a dinner table that always serves your favorite food, a home you can always return to, and a nightlife that no one interferes with. But what did my mom get out of it? Chores? Work? disrespect, and despair? After their divorce, every summer when I returned home, I started to pay close attention to women, especially married women around me, and realized that the degree may vary, but almost no one was treated with the respect they deserve. It turned out that my dad wasn't someone crazy or evil, but just an average man, like many others from a similar social background. I can even say that my mom was fortunate that she has a career of her own, compared to women from working class who are trapped in a tiny and greasy kitchen for their entire life. I'll briefly share the stories of 3 women that I know. The first woman, let's call her Tracy. Tracy gave birth to her second child last year. It was a son, and their family was happy. Her first child was a daughter, so the family asked her to give another try. Tracy lives with her husband and her in-laws. Including the babies, there were 9 people in her household, and every day after work, Tracy would rush home and spend almost 2 hours cooking for the large family. The second woman is a stranger that I saw when I was jogging by the river in a summer night. She was having her family time there with her husband and 2 kids. For the 10 minutes I was with them, the dad was on his phone, probably watching some TikTok videos. The mom was carrying a baby with her left arm and holding a toddler with her right hand. The third story comes from my friend Audrey. For those of you who have used a rice cooker before, you know the rice in the center of the rice cooker is the best. It's moist and soft. In my friend Audrey's family, the center rice is always saved for one person. Not her, not her sister, not her mother, but her dad. And the last story happened when my grandfather passed away. My grandmother pretended to be sad, but she almost wanted to throw a party. She replaced her bed because she didn't even want to sleep in the same bed that my grandfather had slept on. I was really shocked. I could never tell that she hated him so much. And my mother told me after I was born, my grandfather became too old to beat her. But domestic violence was once their everyday life. In Stereotypes, men protect women. I used to believe in this for so long, and to this day, many people still believe in that. It seems like men are taller, stronger, and it's natural that they should protect women who are physically weak and emotional. In fact, in a lot of today's TV shows and romantic stories, women and men are still being portrayed as a princess and her knight. But what I have witnessed is men being protected by women and taken care of by women. Men eat the food that women cook for them, sleep in the bed that women make for them, get the softest rice that women save for them, and get the educational and occupational opportunities by excluding women in the fair game. In her famous piece, 5 Faces of Oppression, Iris Young writes, "The freedom, power, status, and self-realization of men is possible precisely because women work for them. Gender exploitation has 2 aspects: transfer of the fruits of material labor to men and transfer of nurturing and sexual energies to men." Every time I talk about this topic, I can't help but get emotional. I kept questioning, how could he treat her this way? And how could they treat us this way? Sometimes, these thoughts randomly came to me when I go about my day, and it quickly got physiological, giving me chest tightness and shortness of breath. I was scared of making this video. It took me weeks to finish the script. For every paragraph I wrote, I took a long pause to avoid getting too emotional and overwhelmed. I went from being totally ignorant to being confused, and now being angry and outraged. I asked myself, as women, how do we make sense of this world? How do we heal the wounds and resolve this feeling of doubt and resentment and carry on? After all, it's not as simple as I hate you and you're my enemy. A married couple of different genders can have the most intimate relationship with each other than anyone else in the world. They sleep in the same bed and they're lifelong companions. But at the same time, in a patriarchal society, these two people are also placed at drastically unequal positions in all sorts of social institutions, including marriage. When facing gender exploitation, both parties may experience fear, ignorance, confusion, insecurity, and power and powerlessness. I really don't have answers of how to deal with these feelings. And I guess that's why I made this video. One thing I found really interesting about my friend Audrey's story is that until today, her father still doesn't know that he always gets the softest rice, because he never went into the kitchen to scoop the rice himself, and he never tasted the rice from his family members' bowls. He might think all the rice in the world is that soft, not seeing the labor, love, and sacrifice behind it. But Audrey saw it, and so did I. If somehow her dad came across this video, I hope he sees it too.